Hey, before we start the video, I just wanted to let you guys know I created a Discord. Link will be in the description below. Shout out to everyone who's joined, especially Asayoru and Oetsu Nimaya. They have been posting some really awesome artwork. Some of these are just insane, and we just have some really incredibly talented people here. Also, we do have a few more open slots for a guild, so feel free to join as long as you're active when it comes to doing guild quests. Now, jumping into this video is going to be pretty long, so I'm probably going to have to put timestamps here because there's a lot to talk about when it comes to autoing, such as what characters are good, as well as the setup you should have, including the accessories, links, etc. I also think this is an important topic to talk about because we have so many characters in this game, and autoing points event is probably going to constitute half of the time that you spend in BBS, because the points event is the event that every player should be farming. The reason for this is because the Brave Soul summoning tickets that you get from points event. That's usually the best place to farm it. Now, of course, it's going to be difficult to boil it down to 5 characters, even though I was originally going to break it down to 10, but I felt it was even harder to do 10, and I think a lot of times it's less about the character and more about the transcendence level that you have the character at. For example, a character that is 5 out of 5 is usually, but not always, going to have a better clear speed than a character that is 1 out of 5. I do think the kit also matters a lot as well, so having strong attacks that can completely destroy the entire map will make the character rank higher than one that cannot do that. Now, every point of this event is going to be a bit different. For example, there are some extra crosses where there are going to be hollows, quincies, soul reavers, etc. So this list is just going to be for characters that are, in my opinion, generally good for autoing points event. And I think the most important factor that I'll be taking into consideration is the time that it takes to auto and clear the quest. The reason why I say this is because when you have over 1,000 soul tickets sitting in your inventory, you typically want to be able to use those tickets as efficiently and as quickly as possible. For example, hypothetically speaking, if it takes you 40 seconds to complete a times 10 run versus 1 minute to complete a times 10 run, you are obviously going to want to clear the run in 40 seconds as opposed to 1 minute, because you save so much more time, especially if you're going to be doing a times 10 run 100 times. You can save about 33 minutes of your life. Now, another thing that I wanted to mention is that just because a character is strong, it does not necessarily mean that it's good for autoing. For example, the 9th anniversary Grammy is by far the best character in the game, but it is just not very good for autoing because ranged units usually suck at autoing due to the fact that the AI a lot of the times will just start attacking with their nat string instead of their strong attacks, which will make a run unnecessarily long. I also just wanted to point that out, but let's actually jump into the list. At number 5, we have 2024 End of the Year 1000-Year Blower Senjumaru. For her SA1, she has a 750 AoE Distant Circle Fan ability in front of her, and for her SA2, she has an AoE Distant 960 Radius Circle in front of her, and her third strong attack is a full screen strong attack. Her strong attacks are all very good, and a lot of the good recent characters like Magic Society Giselle, Parasol Shinji, Basel Lord Ichigo, and all have strong attacks that are similar to her because she has a very, very good kit. Usually for autoing content, you want to be able to inflict strong attacks in front of you, and all of her strong attacks are able to do that. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because of the fact that there are characters like the Technique Tsukishima, who has a shaved ice cream strong attack 2, where in order to get the most value out of the strong attacks, you have to be in the center of all the mobs. That's not really an issue for Senjumaru, which is why I think she's a really good unit for autoing. She also has Frenzy plus 2, damage inflicted at full stamina 20%, as well as Marauder and Poise, in addition to status ailment plus for all of her attacks, so damage is not really an issue for this character at all. Her kit, as in her strong attacks, are all really good, which is why I think she's a very, very solid unit. I also feel like for some reason her nat string does a ridiculous amount of damage because of the burn plus that you can inflict from it. At number 4, we have Mugetsu Ichigo. For Mugetsu Ichigo, I usually bring him along as the link for one of my supporting characters, but he is nonetheless a really good unit for autoing. So this character was released in 2024 during the pre-anniversary, so pretty much around the same time as when the remakes of Byakuya and Aizen happen this year, but for 2024 instead. His strong attack 1 is a 1020 with 3000 length beam, which is definitely on the higher side of things because for reference, the 1000-year Blood War Apache that recently came out only has a 725 width and 2500 length beam for her first strong attack. So this Mugetsu Ichigo is already better than some of the characters that came out this year. For his second strong attack, there aren't that many characters that have the same type of strong attack that he does, besides the Magic Society Giselle that came out, and as well as the Jujutsu no Kaisen Ichigo. I mean, Getsuga Jujutsu Ichigo, my bad. Both which are insanely strong characters. His third strong attack is just a standard full screen third strong attack. And the reason why I'm ranking this Ichigo higher than Senjumaru is because this Ichigo has a few skills that Senjumaru doesn't have, which is hidden enemy chance 100%, as well as the status immunity. So if for some reason Senjumaru gets hit by weakening or something in a run, the run will definitely get delayed by a bit. That being said, if you have characters that are max transcended, usually you don't really worry about not one-shotting the mobs. I think this Mugetsu was also designed to just be more of an overall better unit for most content in the game, whereas Senjumaru was designed to be more of a guild quest unit, which is why I'm ranking this Ichigo higher than the Senjumaru. For number 3, we have end of the year 2024 1000-year Blood War Ichigo. This character is an absolute powerhouse with Frenzy plus 3, but I do feel like Frenzy plus 3 doesn't really matter that much for autoing, specifically with the kit that this Ichigo has. Don't get me wrong, this character is insane for Limit Breaker quests, as well as the Quincy Guild Quest week, but for autoing points event, it typically and generally doesn't matter whether a character has Frenzy plus 2 or Frenzy plus 3, because they are still going to be one-shotting the mobs regardless. I think the only exception for this is when the character has a moving vortex strong attack 2. That's where Frenzy plus 3 could be insane. The reason for this is because every tick of a moving vortex strong attack would then be applying Frenzy plus 3, which is exactly the reason why the 9th anniversary Grand Meter is completely bonkers. As for this Ichigo, what makes this character so good is the enemies defeated bonus, where when he defeats 20 enemies, he will increase his melee damage by 20%, and when he defeats 40, it's a team/party strong attack recharge of 15%. His first strong attack is a very good 1020 with 3000 length beam, which is very, very good. His second strong attack is one of its kind 1020 AoE distance circle in front of him. But the downside of that is that it's an 18-second cooldown instead of the standard 16-second cooldown. The third strong attack is basically a standard full screen third strong attack. So even though this character, I believe, hits like a truck, for example, he has Frenzy plus 3, Berserker 60%, the SP 80% boost, on top of the weakening plus status ailments on all of his attacks. The 18-second strong attack 2 delays his clear speed a bit when autoing. His second strong attack is very good when playing him, but when autoing it doesn't really feel like it's doing too much. He does have the strong attack recharge 40% for his soul trait though, so that kind of balances out his strong attack 2 being 18 seconds long. I will put this guy over Mugetsu because he is hard attribute, meaning that you don't have to worry about the attribute. You don't have to worry about the attribute of the mobs when taking him to a quest. For example, I can see Mugetsu struggling in an extra quest points event with speed attribute mobs, but you don't really have the issue if you bring along this Ichigo instead because he's hard attribute. For number 2, we have 2023 end of the year 1000-year Blood War Yuha Baha. I was actually using this guy for the longest time for most of 2024 when autoing content in the game because of his strong attack 2. His second strong attack is one of the strongest in the game, where it's a moving strong attack 2 that follows enemies wherever they go. So this is similar to the 5th anniversary Byakuya's second strong attack, as well as the Grammy from the 9th anniversary's second strong attack. What makes this character so insane is his team party, mind attribute, strong attack, recharge 20% skill. This skill allows him to refresh all of his strong attacks when he goes to the next stage. So imagine using your SA2 in one stage and then you go to the next stage with that shit back up again, and then you're just steamrolling through the room and doing the same shit again. That's exactly what happened when I was test playing him in the Extra Quest. He cleared Extra Quest 4 in approximately 39 seconds, which is completely insane in my opinion. If this character came out in 2024 or 2025, he would have better skills and I would probably put him at number 1. But I feel like sometimes his damage is a bit lacking because he does only have Frenzy plus 2 and Berserker 40% as his main damage output. I know I mentioned earlier, it doesn't really matter whether a character has Frenzy plus 2 or Frenzy or plus 3 for points event because the mobs 0 are typically weaker. But for characters that have a moving vortex that follows enemies around as their second strong attack, you kind of do want to have that Frenzy plus 3, which is why the 9th anniversary Grammy is so ridiculously broken. Of course, this Yuha has the SP 80% boost, but that is a little bit unreliable in my opinion. The thing about this character is that I feel like he was just designed to be good for autoing because he has 2 killers, one being Hollow and the other being No Affiliation, as well as the Team Party Mind Attribute Strong Attack Recharge 20% skill, which only works in between stages. Another reason why I can't really put him at number 1 is because he doesn't have enough firepower in case there are some leftover mobs that he couldn't get through with his strong attacks, with his mastering, because his normal attacks do no damage except from the enemy's defeated bonus, which gives him increased melee damage 20% when he defeats 20 enemies. Nonetheless, I still think he is a very good unit, and maybe if you have him max transcended, he could probably be one of the fastest auto units in the entire game. For number 1, we have the number 1 Zanpakuto creator, Uetsu Nimaya. This guy does not make swords for scrubs. I'm just kidding, I'm talking about the speed version. So this character is basically Yuha Baha, but on steroids. Yuha has the Team Party Mind Attribute Strong Attack Recharge 20% skill, which is why I ranked Yuha Baha so high, but this Uetsu basically has that as his gauge effect, which is why he is extremely overpowered. His gauge effect gives him the Strong Attack Recharge 20%, but what makes Uetsu a much better character for autoing in general is the fact that he has the damage to enemies not inflicted by an ailment 140%, meaning that his damage output for all of his attacks are relatively consistent throughout the quest because he doesn't need to rely on an 80% SP boost. Not just that, but his normal attacks actually do damage because of the 140% damage to enemies not inflicted by an ailment. That damage applies not just to his strong attacks, but to his normal attacks as well. His kit also makes him really strong as well. For example, his SA1 is a 1020 with 3000 length beam, his SA2 is an 870 radius AoE fan in front of him, and his SA3 is a standard full screen third strong attack. What makes him so good is that his strong attacks are extremely fast and he can just clear out an entire map without you being able to see the mob spawn. I've been using this character to auto content in the game ever since I got him, and he's just super reliable because of his ability to just spam his strong attacks and cycle through them. Not many characters in the game can do what he does. For the setup, I do think that you should always be equipping the move and speed accessories. For example, on my Uetsu, he has the 5-star version plus version of Ryu Kotsujiyo. I am so sorry if I mispronounced that, as well as the 4-star version of that, in addition to the 5-star Bleach, 1000-year Bloodwork card, and a bunch of 14% strong attack recharge links. This is pretty much the ideal setup you want to have on him, and just in general, I guess, because when it comes to characters that are already very strong or characters that are max presented, your biggest prioritization is them being able to have their strong attacks up ASAP. As for supporting characters, you want to filter them by skill and then choose characters that have the increased movement speed attribute skill. This Tenjiro, for example, will give my Uetsu an extra 20% movement speed. So this Uetsu is basically sprinting through the map at 105% movement speed, which is why I'm able to clear the points event in about 40 seconds or something. As for the soul links on the supporting characters, 2 of the best ones that you want to have are the Mami Rangiku soul link as well as the Mugetsu soul link. These will increase the damage for your entire team, so make sure to equip those. As I mentioned earlier, this list can really fluctuate based on the type of mobs, the attribute, as well as the transcendence levels that you have for your characters. So for example, even though I put Uetsu as number 1, Yuha Baha clears the Heart Attribute Extra Quest 4 a lot quicker because of the fact that he has the attribute advantage. But the reason why I'm putting Uetsu as number 1 is because of his extremely fast string of strong attacks, which with the strong attack recharge 30% gauge effect. This means that if you just slam a bunch of strong attack recharge links onto him, he will easily just be permanently spamming and destroying the entire map with his strong attacks. What sets him apart from the other characters on the list is that he has the damage to enemies not inflicted by an ailment 140%. Which means that in the worst case scenario where the AI accidentally uses his nat string instead of his strong attacks, he can still probably one-shot the mobs with his nat string. Every other character in the list inflicts status ailments, so none of them are able to do that. I've also used them before in Limit Breaker quests, not for autoing, but to clear the stages, and a lot of times his first strong attack will just wipe out the entire stage, which I think is completely ridiculous. The same logic can also be applied to Points event autoing as well. If he can wipe out the entire stage with his first strong attack, then the run is just going to be completed so much quicker. Thank you so far. If you guys have made it to this, this far in this video, and make sure to drop a like and subscribe. And I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day. Stay safe and stay healthy.